Welcome to Authors Revealed. I'm Becky Anderson. We are so excited, and so are a lot of other young adult readers. It's Bella Thorne, star of Shake It Up on Disney, with her first novel for young adults. It's called Autumn Falls. Well, Bella, welcome to Anderson's Bookshops in Naperville.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your debut novel. How does it feel out all of 4 days?
It's weird, for sure.
Yeah.
It's weird. I was so excited for it to come out, and then I didn't really realize. I mean, I knew it was out, but then I was doing a signing, and then they brought out this cake that looks just like Autumn Falls candies. And I swear, I thought it was the book at first, but it was so large, and it was the coolest thing ever. And then I see girls tweeting me with Autumn Falls, or I just, I met an AD that said that she listened to the book all in one day, which is like, it's 6 hours long.
Yeah, right.
And she was like, she's in her mid-20s, maybe, and she was like,
Wow.
oh my goodness, I want JJ and Autumn to end up together. What are you going to do in the second book? And she was going so hard on me. I loved it. It made me really, really happy.
Well, it proves that there's such a crossover adult readers to young adult like this. So I think you're going to have a lot of fans from that too. So you recorded the audio version too. So how was that experience for you?
Hard. It was harder than I thought. Yeah. I mean, reading the book out loud for the first time, I've read it so many times, obviously, to do so many rewrites and going over it. But reading it out loud really brought, because I had to do all the different voices, really brought those characters to life. So I actually want a lot of people to listen to it. Yeah. Because once you hear the voices and the comedic timing that I was trying to get across, it's funny. Yeah.
So doing guys' voices, doing Spanish, with it more of a Cuban type of accent.
Cuban accent.
Very
I wrote
interesting.
that Edie speaks in a perfect Cuban accent, just like my grandmother on my father's side did. Yeah. And it was hard. I didn't realize that I would have to do the Cuban accent and the fluent Spanish. And I was like, oh boy. And she has dementia, and I wanted her to be like shaky, like really sound like an older woman's voice. Yeah. And they were recording me, and I was like, guys, this is really hard. I got to do a lot of things for this one character. And she talks so much in the book.
But I think it's incredible when authors do their own audiobooks if they're good at it, because you're bringing a dimension to it that no other reader can, because you're so involved in the work itself.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you wrote it. So you know what you're trying to get across.
So tell us where the inspiration, that little spark, began to grow for this novel, because you're all of 17 years old and you've accomplished so much already. So wanting to write this novel, where did that come from?
I mean, it was pretty random, I'd say. I wanted to write a book series because I wanted to show kids that if I'm dyslexic and I can write a book series with, one of the most famous publishing companies, Random House, you can do whatever you want, obviously, because I'm no different than anyone else. And then I didn't want to write a book about me. That was like my number one. I didn't know what exactly I was going to write, but I knew that it couldn't be about me, because that would be weird. Who would want to read that? That's just so random.
Well, but I think, you think that, but you know what I think, but there is a lot of you in Autumn.
Yes,
so.
exactly. And so when kids read the book, I think they get to see a part of me that you don't really get to see in my interviews and on my Instagram. It's really deep down Bella. Right.
Without spoilers, because I think this book has a little bit of that magical realism, and it has to do with a journal. Tell us a little bit about Autumn's relationship with her dad, who has passed away, but it's this journal that she ends up writing in, and it has sort of some magical sort of effects in it. So
the journal, it explains in the book. Oh, it's so hard to describe it without
spoilers? Okay. Well, we'll just say this. But I wanted to know, do you journal? And I think it's important for kids sometimes to write down their thoughts in something that's private and to themselves.
Yeah, I'd never had a journal. Ever. I've never done that, really, but I think it's a good idea. I mean, obviously, it's a good idea for Autumn, but it backfires on her a lot throughout the series. No, I've never had a journal.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was really just, I mean, the whole book is not just me. It's
Yeah.
really every girl, and it's everyone else in my life.
Right. But it was a great story element to put that in there. I thought that was a great aspect of the
Thank you.
story.
I wanted some
Yeah.
kind of magical,
Yeah.
something different in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So, you've had so many different artistic experiences, acting, singing, dancing. How was this different for you in an artistic way? And did all those other experiences you've done, how did that inform your writing? Because when you think of the acting, you think of, of course, the dialogue that you do, but how did that, really affect your writing?
I think it really helped, I would say, because I've played so many different characters and dialogue. I mean, you could talk to a lot of authors, and it's harder, I think, to put dialogue in a book.
Sure.
Because it's so different, but because I've read so many scripts and all different types of the way people speak and talk and where they, put their commas and their breaks and their ums, I wanted the dialogue to sound really natural. I wanted it kind of to sound like a script when you read it.
Right.
Because that's really what I read a lot of scripts.
Sure.
So I kind of took my acting element and put it in there a little bit.
Right. So the message of this book, and I think this is the message that you have as a person and what you convey to a lot of your fans too, is that always being yourself and looking for those true friends, but also to looking for that thing that's, no one's perfect. And you shouldn't try for that perfection because it's not attainable, but you need to be happy with what you have. And so, tell us what the message you hope readers will take away from reading Autumn Falls.
Well, because the journal backfires on her a lot throughout the series, especially in the second and third, there's a lot of, we already have so many things going on now. I'm really excited.
Okay,
It's really to show that when you try and change a situation, it's not going to work in your favor because the situation is what it is and it's on purpose. And life isn't going to change it because you don't want it that way.
Right.
Because life's not perfect and there are people. So you shouldn't try and change yourself to impress people. Not that like I can say, oh, you can't do this and you can't do this because I've done it. But I really, I'd like to say I really have experience trying to be perfect for people. And I remember growing up on Shake It Up, and I was always trying to be the one that people liked. And, oh, well, if I dress this way, then so-and-so will like it. And oh, if I wear my hair like this, then other people will like it. And I realized that didn't make me happy. And that only made everyone else happy.
Sure.
So I had to change that.
Yeah. So, I know you've talked about your family really being the anchor in your life. And so tell us a little bit about them through all the things you've done, but also through this book publishing. And did you put any aspects of your family life into the book?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot. Yeah. I mean, even just stories that have happened to the story, the rumor that's made up in the book, that's really that awful rumor that actually happened to someone in my family when my father passed away. And it was so heartbreaking for all of us to hear. And I wanted that in the book because it's harsh. It's reality. Right. It's what people say, and it's how people treat you when you're new in town. I remember when I moved to LA and all this stuff had happened and so many rumors and such weird things, and I wanted people to realize that is real life. And Autumn gets so mad in the book. She decks her in the face. Like, she really tries. And I didn't want Autumn to be like, oh, I'm just going to sit inside and sulk about it, because that isn't what people should do. You should stand up for yourself and say, hey, that's not true. What are you talking about? And so I didn't want to teach girls to just let it bug them on the inside and not speak out about it.
Sure. It's a more realistic reaction instead of keeping it all penned up.
Thank you.
Right. So, you support so many great causes, and I know, the Dyslexia Foundation, but also the whole thing about I Decide and the Thirst Project, but
and
also
Humane Society.
Right, I know. I mean,
animals.
but also to the Stop Out Bullying and all this kind of stuff. So, what kind of things do you do for these organizations and standing up for these causes? Really, someone that has such a following across so many different avenues. I mean, what does it do for you? Because I think it probably fulfills a lot for you too.
It does. There's this really sad aspect to any charity that you work with, actually, that you feel, but that really is what gets you going. That's what makes you want to change it. I remember when my publicist, Laura, introduced me to Seth from the Thirst Foundation, and I was like, she told me who I was going to meet. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I think this is a great organization. And then I met this kid. And I was like, what? Where's where's the owner? I'm confused. And he was like, oh no, I am. And I was like, what are you, 18? What are you, 19? Like, I'm so confused. You look so young. Yeah. And when you work with people that are so inspiring, that just makes you want to be a better person. Because Seth, let me tell you, he's put his whole life, I mean, he works like so many jobs and his car and everything he does to make money to fly to Africa and all these different places and build these wells. And he puts so much work and himself into his organization. Right. That's what makes it so inspiring. Yeah.
And I think that's something, the best thing you can say about anybody is that person wants to make you be a better person. So exactly. I think the way you describe it, which I think is the best thing you can say about anybody. Right?
And if you don't have that, I mean, I look at so many people that have the chance to make a change. And when I see people with, this crazy amount of money or followers and when they don't put themselves in that position to make the world change, that to me is crazy because that's what I love to do. I don't want to just be known as an author or as an actress. Right. I want to be known as someone who made a difference, who made, even if it's a few kids happier in their lifetime, but at least I did that. At least I have that to show when I lay down at night or when I'm on my deathbed. I can say that at least I did something.
And you've done so much more than so many people can do in a lifetime. So that's fantastic. No, it's really great. So now I heard you're going to star in the Duff. The Designated Ugly Fat Friend, which is one of my favorite YA novels. Cody Keplinger, I know her.
She's so sweet.
She is so good, and she is such an inspiration because she's legally blind.
Yes.
And she's gone through so much. So tell us a little bit about the film, because I'm so excited it's finally coming in a movie, because it's one of my absolutely favorite young adult books.
The movie's hilarious. It's so funny. They could not have casted better characters and better people to play them, honestly. Yeah. Like, when you look at the writing of I remember when I read the script and I was like, I have to be her. I have to be the Duff. I want to be her. And I remember I read for Ari and I was like, please, please, please let me. Yeah. And then he wanted me to play the character that I ended up playing, the mean girl. But what we wanted to portray in her is not Valley girl mean, not your typical mean girl that's like in a lot of book series that's very, finger twirly. Yeah. She's hardcore, I would say, in the movie. I'm very straightforward. I could really get you in trouble. Very much in Alexander, I play like this kind of Valley Girl character, and that's definitely what we didn't want to go for. I don't know. The trailer's on my Instagram. We're about to do the countdown and stuff. I have a little teaser. Okay. And the opening line is, people like you will never matter here. And it's just, I'm so mean to May, and I feel so bad. She's like 4'11", she's tiny, and I feel like I'm digesting her when I'm standing next to her because I'm so mean, and on top of her, I feel so bad every time I do it. But she's so funny. May's literally one of the funniest people I've ever met. I just did press with her and Robbie, and the whole day I was crying. I was laughing so hard. Oh, that's great. Oh, good. Well, I'm so happy to see this book finally coming out. It's really, really good. So tell me, because I know when you recorded the audio of Autumn Falls, you recorded the first chapter of the next book. Right? Or did you put that on the audio? Or tell us about what's coming up with there's going to be another book, right? Yeah, there's 3. Okay, so it's going to be a trilogy. So tell us a little bit without any spoilers. Tell us and if you're working on the second one already, and maybe just a little bit of what may happen. I'm going to tell you the last line of, even though I haven't finished the second book, when I was reading the first one, I came up with the last line. When I did the audio, I came up with the last line for that's what I think you're saying. Yeah, the last line is, how she wishes her father back to life in the first book. Yeah. The last line of the second book, I really want to be, maybe I couldn't wish my father back to life because he was never really dead. Right. Okay. So that statement, I think, is so powerful when I said it and I was reading when I had to do it out loud. It was it brought such an overpowering emotion to me that I was like, this has to be the last line, because this is what is going to make people want to read the third book. Is he really dead? Is he not? Why would he leave Autumn in that position? How could he do that to his daughter, his family? Or is he dead? It's going to be the third book. It's really going to be very a mystery. Okay. Yeah. It's so interesting when you do something out loud and you read it. How more emotional. Yes. But how much more emotional it is that sometimes than when you just read it silently. It was hard to get through the book because some parts in the book are so sad, and so the only part of the book I'll tell you that I wrote exactly how it happened to me is when she gets the call that her father died. Exactly how it is in the book, exactly how it happened in real life, and that's the only thing that happened in the book. I needed it to be the same because people that haven't experienced death, or they have in a different way, I needed that to be exact.
And to be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be real for the character. It makes her so much more realistic.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us what the timing is for book 2 and book 3, because everybody's going to want to know.
Well, I'm hoping it'll release on the same date, November 11th. It's right before my mom's birthday, too.
Oh, that's
hers
great.
is the 20th.
That's cool.
So I think November is a good month. All the Scorpios, they'll all read the book.
All right.
They might like it. Please be loyal. Scorpios are supposed to be loyal. Be loyal to my book series.
Okay. Well, great. So we can look forward to a year from now. Look for book number 2. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me, and thanks for coming to see us, and congratulations on your debut novel.
Thank you.
And come back and see us with the next one.
I will be back.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What an exciting interview that was with Disney star of Shake It Up, Bella Thorne, with her debut young adult novel. It's called Autumn Falls. Thanks for joining me on Authors Revealed.